All right, welcome everybody to Live Courageously, podcast show number 15 of 2022. And this show started when I got the strong feeling or urge one night to start a podcast show when I was in Calgary, Canada, finishing up producing a film, Left Behind, with director Kevin Sorbo and actor Kevin Sorbo. And I felt the strong need at the time to share the stories of some of the amazing, courageous friends that I'm honored to know and have in my life. So it's very special to go full circle and have Kevin Sorbo here as a guest today. And at the time, I chose the title of Live Courageously because that's been the conscious theme of my life for the last 2 years since the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, and an unconscious theme for most of my life. And if you haven't seen the previous 14 podcasts with some of my amazing friends sharing their powerful stories of overcoming all odds and going on to live their best lives, you can watch them on my John Duffy YouTube channel. And I recommend you check them out and binge watch them. It's better than Netflix. It is. And you'll get free doses of inspiration and courage. And this show, what it's about is about faith over fear. I believe fear is just a reaction, but courage is a choice. And I suggest that you need to consciously choose courage to get through life and to deal with what life may throw at you in the future. So I encourage you to adopt the spirit of courage in the face of any and all fears. But so let me get to the show today and let me introduce you to my very special guest and friend. Kevin is someone who has lived a very courageous life. I don't have any clue how I'm going to make this fit this conversation with Kevin into an hour, as his life and experiences will take hours, but here goes. Sorbo received international stardom when he booked the lead role in Hercules, The Legendary Journey, which became the most watched TV show in the world. Following that success, Sorbo had the lead role as Captain Dylan Hunt in Gene Roddenberry's Andromeda. And so Sorbo has also gone on to star alongside Dennis Quaid and Helen Hunt in Soul Surfer and in the faith-based movie God's Not Dead. The $2 million God's Not Dead budgeted movie became the most successful independent faith-based movie ever, earning over $140 million. Let There Be Light was a movie that Kevin directed, acted, produced, and this family movie ranked number 4 out of the top 10 family movies of 2018. Fortunately, I was supposed to line produce it, but it didn't work out. The next one was Miracle in East Texas, a comedy based on a true story set in the 1930s, was another movie that Kevin directed and acted in, and it is released as scheduled sometime in late 2022, kind of held up by the pandemic. It also stars John Ratzenberger, Lou Gossett Jr., and Sam Sorbo. And I had the opportunity and the pleasure to line produce this film in Calgary and work with Kevin for the first time. Sorbo also produced and narrated the documentary Against the Tide that follows the career of Oxford math professor John Lennox in his lifelong apologist debates against the world's most famous atheists like Richard Dawkins and Christopher Hitchens. It was shot on location in Oxford and Israel. An upcoming movie, Reagan, about the life of Ronald Reagan, the President Reagan, with Dennis Quaid playing the late president, has Sorbo playing his pastor, and will also release in early 2023. That's just the beginning. Principal filming just completed this past November, December of 2021 for the next Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist movie, with Kevin Sorbo directing and acting in the movie based on the Jenkins LaHaye award-winning books. Theatrical release is set for early 2023. And I once again had the great opportunity of being one of the producers on this and filming again in Calgary, Canada. Also releasing in 2022 is a documentary, Eating with the Enemy, and Sorbo narrates this interesting look at the Last Supper and the 12 disciples. So that's just a little bit of Kevin's film stuff. Besides that, he's written 2 books, his memoir, True Strength, My Journey from Hercules to Mere Mortal and How Nearly Dying Saved My Life, chronicles his near-death experience when he suffered 3 strokes and his battle back to regain his life. He also wrote the follow-up book, Through Fate, Embracing Adversity to Live in God's Light, with his wife, Sam. Kevin was also the recipient of the Lee Greenwood Patriot Award in 2021. And I could go on and on and on, but no, I'm going to welcome Kevin to the show. And hey, brother, thank you for joining me today and being part of it. And
no worries. Good to be here.
Man.
It's good to see you. God, you list all that stuff. I guess it sounds like I'm pretty busy.
Hey, and I had to edit it. I cut it down a little bit because I'd be on talking for a lot longer for sure. And it'd be better to be talking with you. So, Kevin, I always started out, and I kind of hinted at it. My first two questions of the show is, do you remember the first time we met? And I think I kind of set that one up already, but
well, it had to be in Alabama, right? In Birmingham. Did we meet before that?
no, see, that was, yeah, we didn't get to meet in Alabama. Unfortunately, the situation didn't come together. I was supposed to be on that with Let There Be Light, and
Oh,
then
that's right. That's right. So then obviously it was with Miracle in East Texas.
that's right. So we met up in
Yeah.
Calgary when you showed up in
Yeah.
Calgary and sat down and we set up a reading and everything. So that was our first time,
Yeah.
first movie, and then we got a chance to do two of them in the same place, which was fantastic.
Yeah, because James, your other partner there, James Q, he was at Let There Be Light in Birmingham.
Right, and he had originally told me about it, and
Yep.
for whatever reason, it kind of
Yeah, he
didn't work.
said you were busy or something else going on at that time, but that was my first experience with James, and then we had just an amazing time shooting up in Calgary with Miracle in East Texas, and hopefully, God willing, it's going to finally get out there. So it's due. The good thing about a movie like that, it's set in 1930. So it's not a movie that's going to matter when it comes out in terms of people viewing it, but it's just a matter of now getting it out there because it's we were at 10 film festivals with it. It won all kinds of awards, everything from best family movie to best faith-based movie, which was kind of weird because it's not heavily faith-based.
Right.
It's got a solid message in there, but it's not like a Kendrick's Brothers movie, which is really like Christian in your face type of movie. But this is a true story set in 1930, and it's just a wonderful script. Dan Gordon wrote it, as you know. Dan's become a good friend for all of us here, and Academy nominated writer for The Hurricane that he wrote for Denzel Washington. And it was just a wonderful movie and wonderful to be part of. And it's amazing what we did that movie on because it looks like a $10 million movie. And, we didn't have $10 million, trust me, but it looks great. The movie
a lot
looks
less
great.
than 10 million, but and the challenge was that, I'm sure you remember, but, I got up there 3 weeks before we started shooting.
Yeah.
It was my first time up in Calgary. And, you came up and we had basically what we shot it in, I think it was 18 days or something.
Yeah, that's about right. 18
Yeah,
days.
so we had 18 days to do it, and one of the things, I was impressed by, I mean, you knew everything about it. It was a great story. It was fun. But it was challenging to shoot a movie like that with going back into the 30s. We had to build all rigs. We had to do a lot of stuff. And to be able to pull that off and then film it in 18 days. And, you as a director, we didn't have people are used to. And we told the crew we weren't going to have long days, and we didn't. We had 12-hour days. You knew what you wanted and you did it. So that was the first experience. I think, I've seen the movie a couple of times at Las Vegas Festival where you spoke. And then we, of course, screened it up in Canada for all the people who helped us last time we were up there.
Yeah, when we were just filming just last year. Yeah, we had a screening up there as well. It's interesting. I got people say, how can you shoot a movie that quick? Well, it's not easy, certainly.
That's right.
We were fortunate to find the cars that we're able to find that were 1930 or earlier, still working, these vehicles. Canada, where we were in Calgary, has one of two working trains still on tracks. There's only two in all of North America that were pre-1930. So to be able to use that train is also a great production value for the movie. But very fortunate to work with the people we worked with because everybody busted their tail. I'll tell you, to put the things together as quickly as it did. They didn't think we could get this put together in 3 weeks, and we did. And then when we shot it over those 18 days as well, I tell people all the time, I go, look, unless you're doing a James Cameron movie where he's got $300-400 million to play with, and he's got 7,000 FX shots. Clint Eastwood did a movie called $1 Million Baby, right?
$1 Million Baby, right?
And it won Best Picture, Best Supporting Actor, Best Actress, and they shot that in 27 days. And I'm a disciple of Clint Eastwood. I love the fact that he shoots 8 or 9 hour days. I mean, it shows you that there's a lot of time wasted on the set. There doesn't have to be. And I think these young directors come and they think they got to work 16-hour days, and you don't have to. you can get through the day if you've got a good first AD cracking the whip and a director saying, hey, where are we as well? I always acted like an assistant first AD on the set of Hercules and Andromeda, where I always get on set and go, what are we waiting for? Let's shoot something. You know, I mean, there's just, you can move things along and get things done, but you just have to just get it done.
You said that many times on Miracle in East Texas. I remember. And, but the thing was the crew loved it because, we weren't wasting time and making people go long hours. And,
I think on average, we shot 11-hour days. We weren't shooting even the full 12 hours. I think overall, 2 days maybe went over a little bit when they had really heavy days.
Well, we had some weather one day at nighttime when it rained and everything that was a little bit challenging for all of us.
Yeah, the rain, that one, oh man. That was just frustrating because we're setting that shot up and you just hear the thunder and you look it up and you go, oh, it's not looking good. And sure enough, it hit. But we got pretty lucky. I remember there's one scene. There's a scene in there where we actually planted a cottonwood tree that was on this ranch. And we'd shot it all and we did everything with it. The tree was still there on this 3,000-acre working ranch we shot on. And also remember that windstorm that came up? They warned us about these windstorms. And it was like 80 mile an hour gusts. I mean, we had tents flying. Luckily, nobody got hurt because we had these tents with these poles.
We had things lock things down and still it wasn't enough.
No, and it ripped off every leaf off that tree, that young tree. I mean, it was about a 15, 20-foot tree.
That's right.
Somebody said that's a wrap on the cottonwood tree because it was not going to be able to be used anymore after that. But it was. I'm very proud of the film. I'm proud of what we put together. It's pretty cool.
I can't wait till it gets out because I think
it's got to get out.
It's so much fun and yet being such a true story and every piece of it. I think the acting and everything. It was just one of the best. And here's the funny thing because we had 3 weeks prep on it. And then I go back to, and then I end up having, I think we had about 3 weeks again. So we keep having very little time to put this in. The last movie that we did together was even bigger, much bigger, and had a lot more moving pieces even.
Yeah.
But, once again, we pulled it off in the same kind of dynamic because of your style of directing. And I think you're right. Clint Eastwood is a perfect person to role model as to how to direct. I mean, you know
what? I was just talking to a friend of mine who's worked with Clint and worked with his son before, and he said, Clint at 92 years old has one more. He wants to do one more film for sure. So they're looking for one more film for him to do, and because he had a script that got down to the last two that Clint was debating on. He ended up not doing either of them, so they're still looking for a script to finish off. Doing one more movie at 92 years of age. But I've known Clint a long time. I'm not good buddies with him. I've golfed with him,
right?
And I've met him a number of times at different social events. I'm still on the mailing list for whenever they have a premiere of any of his movies. So I probably have been about 5 of their premieres. And every time he sees me, Kev, how you doing? He knows who I am, and I go, Clint, one line. All I want. I just want to be in a Clint Eastwood movie. My ego's not that big. I don't have to be the lead. One line. I just want to say I was in a Clint movie. But
maybe there's one coming up. A buddy of mine, a director buddy of mine, Martin Gigi, who's a musician as well. He just directed a movie called Sweetwater, which is based on a true story of the first African-American basketball player who played for the New York Knicks. And he did it under the auspices of Clint Eastwood's company. So Clint was, and they filmed it up at Warner Brothers. Unfortunately, I was up in Minnesota because he wanted to give me a part in it, acting, and I couldn't get back to do it. So I was bummed, totally bummed.
Yeah.
But we got another.
You were shooting in my home state.
I know. So I was bummed for not. Yeah. You were bummed that I didn't get you on that one, and I was.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was supposed to shoot in Minnesota here about a month ago, and it was supposed to be like 3 months ago, then 2 months ago. Now they've moved it for the 4th time. I don't know when they're going to do it now. It's been very frustrating.
Well, there's a film commission up there. It's called Upper Minnesota Film Office. And they, I posted something and they were like, Kevin's got to come back. We love Kevin. Kevin's our, one of our folks here. So I think hopefully we'll get somewhere in the future we'll find.
Yeah, I would love to shoot. I've never shot my home state other than commercials. I mean, I shot commercials growing up, through college. I shot for like Target and 3M and Best Buy and Dairy Queen and all that stuff. I mean, that's how I got that SAG card you need so much to, be able to get other acting jobs. But never been back to shoot a movie there. So I was excited. And you're going to Duluth. You'll be up there. I think if you're going to get up there in October, they have a thing called Grandma's Run. and
Oh no, we were there for they did Grandma's
Oh,
Run
were you?
already. Yeah, we were there in they did it in June,
Okay.
and matter of fact,
It's a
talk about
marathon. Yeah.
yeah. So what we had to do, I had 2 weeks of prep on that movie, which is the shortest I've ever done in my life, and
Wow.
we had to finish the movie the day before Grandma's Run because they kicked us out of our hotels.
Oh,
So
wow.
because of
Well,
everybody had already booked Grandma's Run, which is what it's a unique, and we stood outside and watched it. It was fabulous.
sure. They
Yeah.
also have a thing coming up. The University of Minnesota Duluth does their hockey team, their Division I hockey, and the Minnesota Gophers will come up, and it's called the Gopher Weekend. And they have a thing called the Case-a-thon, where everybody tries to drink a case of beer before the game starts. So good luck.
Oh man.
It's,
I think I'm going to try and pass on that one. I'll let
yeah.
James
Just have
Quadrucci do
one
it.
beer and go to the game. It's a great rivalry. It's pretty fun.
Yeah. Anyway, with the second question, since we kind of went off on a lot of good
Oh, that's
stuff here.
okay.
Yeah, man. My second question, which really leads into a lot of stuff later with you too in your book, is
Sure.
what does live courageously mean to you? Because you've had a lot of episodes in your life where you've lived
Sure.
courageously for sure. So what does that mean to you, and what's that kind of how does that
Well,
relate? I mean,
don't let anyone set you limitations. The heck with this woke world and this cancel culture, people. I mean, look, I'm getting canceled now from autograph shows because maybe 10 people will write in and say, well, if he shows up, we're gonna riot. And these Comic-Con guys fold. So all of a sudden, these punks out there are able to control, me getting Comic-Cons are like a side job for me, and I enjoy doing it because I like to meet my fans. I've been in
sure,
plenty of Comic-Cons through the years. I've probably been, my gosh, I've been going to them for 20 years. And there are people that don't want to come up and get an autograph for whatever reasons. That's fine. I don't care. But I have a number of fans that come up and want to meet with me. So when these punks, these people that, I'm going to sidetrack again here. It's so easy to go down the road to who these people are. I guarantee you these people are probably being paid by George Soros, living off your tax dollars and mine. They're 35 years old, living in the basement of their mom's house. They have no job. They have no relationship. These are people that, don't like that you are successful or that I am successful or anybody's successful. They've given up on all their dreams and, one failure in life, and it's everybody's fault. They blame a God they don't believe in. They blame you and me and the world when they got to look in the mirror and admit to the fact that they're the ones who are the problem. But it's amazing to me that we got to put up with these punks, but here we go. And so to me, it's like, don't give into it. Look, I got very vocal years ago, and my wife, Sam, said, you better be careful. I'm like one of the original cancel culture people because Hollywood pretty much booted me out. Thank God for independent movies because I love the industry. Hollywood owes me nothing. I just find it sad that we can't find a way to work together. I mean, I don't harbor that anger and hate that they do on the left, which blows me away. So yes, for those that don't know, yes, I'm a righty, I'm a conservative, I'm a capitalist. The way America was, how do you think America was made? I mean, all these studios can claim that they're for socialism. No, they're not. You don't think Disney and Universal want to make money? Of course they're in the capitalist system. It's all about money. What do you think Pfizer's doing? So it's let's not pretend ourselves that we think socialism, Marxism, and communism is a good thing. Why do you think people? Pardon?
No, go keep going.
No, but why do you think people still want to try to come to America? They realize that the American dream still be alive and well, but now you get attacked for living the American dream. We got to work on it hard. So I'm telling people out there, don't let people set you limitations. Don't be afraid. Fear is a great weapon. As you see, our government uses fear as a weapon against all of us. And we got to keep fighting the good fight and not give up. Because I'm telling you, the road we're on right now is not a good road. And you can see it. You can see the crime in our cities and the hatred and the anger and the divisiveness going on. And that's perpetuated by the school system, public schools and universities, and certainly perpetuated by the media. And it's like, are you kidding me? I mean, I remember when the riots just, a year and a half, 2 years ago, buildings blowing up, and you got the CNN reporter going, this is a very peaceful, a demonstration going on. And people are getting mugged and shot. And it's just, it's unbelievable. What a weird time we're living in right now. So I tell people, just keep fighting the good fight and don't let fear rule your life. It's a waste of time to sit there and let these people control you through fear. Don't be afraid to stick up for you. You all know what's right. So just stick around for what's right.
I'm going to pivot back to that later, but I want to kind of take you a little bit more in your personal journey, in particular,
Sure.
Some of the stuff you went. But I just do want to comment on what you said too, because I think people sometimes, because people live in such bubbles, they don't get to know who people really are, and so they have these the media gives them ideas of who people are as opposed to getting to know people
Sure.
and knowing who they really are. And I'll just say this, and then I want to get to your book real quick. But when I met you and we went up to worked in Canada, but the first time and the second time, I think one of the things that kind of blew people's minds was how you starting, because it always starts with the top in leadership, but how you and the rest of the team treated everybody with respect and like they were part of our family. And they didn't, and that kind of people, because people had all this ways that they thought we were going to be or you were going to be.
Sure.
And then they realized we were the exact opposite, that we
Yeah.
came there and we treated the people, just like the Bible, we treated people the way we wanted to be treated, with respect. And that's the way you should carry yourself in the world. But, you did that and you set the tone up there. And that was my experience working with you. But the other thing about living courageously is just pivot. And I'm going to just throw up a picture of your book, which tells True Strength, which is the first memoir you wrote. And, here's a situation you went through personally, and then we'll get back to some of this other stuff, but how you went through, you ended up with 3 strokes and how you dealt with that and came back and came strong. So why don't you share a little bit of that with the audience and what you did in writing that book? What's the message that you shared with people as you went through that?
Well, it was just quickly how it all happened. It was the end of season 5 in Hercules. Obviously, I lived in New Zealand for 7 years, filming all 7 years of that series. I was having all kinds of problems with my shoulder. Couldn't figure what was going on. My arm was weird. My fingers were cold and numb. Couldn't figure what was going on. Came back to America. I was doing publicity in my first big budget movie called The Conqueror, and I was traveling the country. I was doing Letterman, Leno, all the talk shows. Finally went to see my doctor in LA, and they found a lump way up here. And at the time, he thought it was cancer. He didn't tell me. He told me this after everything else happened. And I went to see my chiropractor. In the 8 years I've seen my chiropractor, he's never cracked my neck ever because I don't like my neck cracked. Nope, don't like it. I'm laying on. He knows this. He's never cracked it. I'm laying there on my back, and I hear a voice over and over again. Don't let him crack your neck.
Huh.
Repeating, don't let him crack your neck. Louder. I'm going, why am I hearing this voice saying, don't? Well, he cracks my neck. That ended up being an aneurysm that for months have been spitting blood clots slowly into my arm, suffocating the blood flow into my fingers and causing all the pain and everything. Well, that cracked this way because it was way up here, my left subclavicle. It was so close to the artery feeding into the brain. That crack, they call it retrograde flow, is what neurologists call it. And it threw 4 clots actually into my brain because it was my speech as well. My speech came back fairly quickly. But I spent the next 3 years because I had two go to my balance center, one went to my vision. I still have a 10% loss of vision in both eyes. But it came back from what it used to be. It's much better than what it used to be. But it took me 4 months to learn how to walk and balance again. And I was supposed to start another movie for Universal. Obviously, I couldn't do it. I was bedridden and just trying to get myself going again because I was going to start filming the next week. And then it took me 3 years to fully recover. When I went back to do season 6 on Hercules, I went from a 14-hour workday down to 1 hour a day until, like every 4 months, we'd add a couple more hours. It slowly built it back up. And I appreciated that. I mean, Universal did it because at that time, we were the most watched TV show in the world in 176 countries. I appreciated it because it gave me hope. It gave me this light at the end of a very long and dark tunnel on that part of my life. And it took me 3 years to kind of feel normal again. I still have limitations that I'm aware of. When I get overly tired, I told you, the vision thing can be weird sometimes, but overall it's still pretty good. I didn't want to write the book. My wife, Sam, bugged me to write the book because it's the male ego, right? We don't want to show the world how weak we are, especially a guy playing Hercules on TV. So I didn't write the book until years after the strokes. It was like 13 years after the strokes.
Wow.
And it was tough to write. I took my time to write it. The hardest thing for me was doing the audiobook because I did it over 2 days and to kind of go through it and that when I was only writing a chapter a month and taking my time with it. And it was kind of put it all together. It kind of was emotional for me because I was like reliving it. But all of a sudden I started doing only speaking events because of it. And I got to tell you, my wife was right. It was a godsend because I had people of all ages, all walks of life come up to me when I was doing all these book signings saying, look, I had a car crash survivor, I'm a cancer survivor, I'm a stroke survivor, I'm whatever it may be. they said my book motivated them to stop feeling sorry for themselves, because the book really has positive messages in it. It's got a lot of humor in it. It's got a couple other chapters written by people close to me in my life saying about the changes they saw in me. But it was, the reality is we're all going to hit roadblocks in life. How do you react to that roadblock? It's once again so easy to blame everybody else. Um, every time I got down, my wife said, Kevin, it happened. What are you going to do about it? And that's the mentality I had to bring into it, because I know with myself, I'm very strong-willed. It's something I got from my parents. My parents were both raised on farms in Iowa, and my dad was the only child, couldn't go into sports. He would have been a good athlete. I'm one of 4 boys. We all went into sports, so we lived vicariously through us and all of our football and basketball and baseball adventures. But he had a hard working life as a kid, because he was the only kid on the farm with my grandfather. So he just always instilled hard work. Don't expect handouts. Don't expect anybody, boom, do it yourself. And that's always been with me. And I'm very driven. I'm still driven to this day. So to me, I think because of my age in my 30s at the time and the physical strength I had because of, doing the series, but I was always a good athlete. I got through this far better than I would have if I was an 80-year-old guy getting 4 strokes, So I got through it. I passed every physical they could throw at me. I did the last 2 seasons of Hercules. I did 5 years right after that on Andromeda, 110 episodes there. And I've shot over 70 movies since. And I passed every physical you can throw at me. So I tell people, never, ever give up. Once again, it's not only letting people set you limitations, but especially yourself. You got to push, you got to push, you got to push. Everybody's got a story out there watching now. I know that. Everybody's got a story. How do you get past all that? How do you get that roadblocks in front of you? What do you got to do to get around it? And my book, obviously has been helpful to me, but it's been helpful to many other people as well. And to this day, I still do about 15 speaking events a year around the country, whether it's motivational, whether it's on my book, whether it's meeting with doctors. I mean, I spoke to 1,600 neurologists in San Diego. I mean, it's been interesting. It's been another road I never thought I'd be going down. I mean, I'm not afraid to get up in front of a group of people, but I never thought I'd be doing public speaking. But I've already done like 4 or 5 more this year. I've got another 5 lined up. So, in fact, I'm heading out to, I got another movie I'm filming right after that movie. I'm heading to Kentucky to speak there. And then I got one in Fontana, California. I'll be flying in Ontario Airport. Thank God it's not LAX. I'll take Ontario Airport. Much better. Much nicer.
You have to let
airport.
me know when that is. I'll come out, man.
Sure. I will.
I'll definitely come out.
It's in October. I think it's like, when is it? It's in October. I'll let you know.
I may be.
You might be gone.
I might be gone, unfortunately.
Yeah, you're probably gonna be gone.
But that other thing you say, like everybody out there in the audience, and we all have stories. But the question is, what is your story? You can tell yourself any kind of story. You can tell yourself a story that you're a victim, and then you stay a victim for the rest of your life. Yeah. Or you tell yourself a better story and you live a better story. And that's kind of what you did with the book, True Strength. You told a better story. You told the story of overcoming, the story of basically never giving up. And that's the story we all have. We all have the ability to tell that story, that we're never going to give up, no matter what life throws at us. But we got to choose to tell that story. Otherwise people choose the story about, hey, life is, woe is me. Life is bad. Look what happened to me. Yeah, it did. And now what you're going to do about it? What are you going to do to overcome it? What are you going to do to go forward and turn that into a better story and a better life? That's your choice. And you did that.
We have tens of millions of people in this country, around the world that sit there and want to be the victim. Oh, I'm a victim. Woe was me. Woe was me. You know what? Nobody owes you anything. Like I said, Hollywood doesn't owe me anything. It's sad to me that I can't be up for bigger TV shows or bigger movies now, but I love the movies that I'm doing anyway. I'm doing movies with a positive message because I'm going to do that. You see all the stuff coming out of Hollywood, out of the cable outlets and everything like that. It's filled with nothing but more anger, more hate, over-sexualized, just boom, boom, beating us over the brain and just brainwashing all of us. I want to do movies that made me want to be an actor in the beginning, that I grew up watching these old Hollywood movies with Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn, Jimmy Stewart and Cary Grant. I want to do movies that had more of a positive message. They don't have to be biblical. They don't have to be, a church driven at all. They just movies that have love in there, movies that have hope in there, things that we need right now in the world more than ever, because you see what's going on. So that's why I'm going to keep doing the movies that I'm doing, because movies that I get stopped all the time. It used to be Hercules, Andromeda, but I'm going through airports, hotel lobbies, restaurants. People stop me and they say, hey, we love what you're doing. Please do more of it. There's 80 million homes out there that want the kind of movies I do. And why Hollywood is dissing them? I mean, here's a perfect example of a movie that came out that's a big budget movie, but it didn't have an agenda. It didn't have pushing something that is like, okay, enough of this stuff already. The latest Top Gun movie with Tom
Right.
Cruise. It's a phenomenal movie. It's just a great uplifting movie. And you watch it and you kind of go, yeah. And Hollywood should take note of that because they see people's response to that right now. I mean, they see that what's going on instead of what they're doing to all the Marvel characters now. I'm just like, oh my gosh. It's like, can we just make a movie that's just a good movie? And they did it with that. And they got the bigger budget to advertise. The movies that we're doing. I don't have $100 million budget like James Cameron does, or the Marvel guys who just sit there and show the trailer of their movie in every sporting event and every movie theater before the movie that people went to see. You see, what do we see? 7 trailers before the movie even starts. So, our battle is word of mouth with good movies, and that's what we got to do.
And like you said, I think people, Hollywood calls it, and we'll kind of circle back to that in later as well.
Sure.
But they call it flyover country, because all those people or what we call America, those people want those kind of movies that inspire them, that
Sure
entertain them, that they can take their family to and have a great night out with your family and come away entertained and maybe inspired a little bit, maybe get a little bit of hope, maybe get a little bit of fun, all that combined, not negativity, not division, not all hatred, all that other nonsense. But they don't get enough of that. And that's kind of, I think, what we get to do is to participate in those kind of movies of all different types. But I think the country and the people need more of them. They need more.
But how do we get it out there? That's the problem.
That's
Like I said, we don't have the big budget. God's Not Dead was an anomaly. A $2 million movie makes $140 million. That was just
an anomaly.
That caught just fire through word of mouth, and it's the toughest thing to do because all these ad agencies say you need 7 imprints of a commercial to really. I'm going to go out and buy that soap now,
right.
Or I'm going to go see that movie. Well, we don't have that kind of budget in the movies we do. We got to rely on. Here's the thing. I wish there was some kind of an app that went out to all the families out there that want the movies that you and I have been doing lately. So, because then that app, we would post a trailer and say, boom, it's going to open this weekend. Please, support it in theaters. Because you and I both know these people that own the movie theaters, they don't care what they show. They want to sell popcorn and sodas. So if you got a movie that does very well opening weekend, they'll keep it out there for another week. If it is horrible, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a horrible movie, but if nobody shows up for whatever reasons, they yank it after 3 days. It's gone.
Yeah, they're in the business and they need to make money and they need to survive. And it's absolutely true. But you're what you just said. Someone's listened to the show. Maybe that down the road, that app, someone will develop that app. It clearly is something that is that's needed for the independent world so that we can compete. Because at the end of the day, the pandemic showed us one thing too. I mean, there was that slogan that we're all in the same boat that they kept promoting to us, which was a bunch of BS because we weren't in the same boat. We were in a small boat. They were in a yacht. They were having an easy life. We were having a struggle because they were making it harder for us. But that's the same true in all other aspects with the indies. We're not in the same boat as them. We're in a smaller boat. They're in their yachts. And we need to the most of the people out there who want the content we want, those are the average folks. They're not the people floating around in yachts. They want this content. We just got to find a way to create that marketing and that promotion to be able to get it out there and make it successful financially.
Sure. Well, John, I mean, as you know, there's not as many movies being made right now overall. If you go back, you got to go back 20 years when Hollywood was making 700-800 movies a year, all the major studios. They're not even making half of that anymore right now. So that's been a blessing, I think, to the independent world because it's cheaper now without being negative about it, like anything with technology, camera equipment, lighting, all that kind of stuff, because it keeps progressing. You can shoot really low budget movies, but make them look great. The production value can be really good. And there's a lot of people out there on both sides of the camera that love the industry because we're in an industry that doesn't matter what side of the camera you're on, people want to be in. That's a rare thing. I mean, I've got plenty of friends who work at, I hate my job, hate that. You don't sit there and go, I guess I'll be an actor. I don't want to be an actor. Oh, I guess I'll be a camera operator. I don't want to be. Yeah, they do. It's a business that on either side of the camera, people really want to be part of. And I love the creative process. I love working with everybody. I love working with the different departments and things like that. I don't try to tell the camera people how to do their job. I don't try to tell the makeup and hair people and the costume people how to do their job. I can tell them what I'm looking for. I can say, give me a lens that shows me this, So, but you want to hire people that love their job and know what they're doing. And I think that's the blessing with these independent movies. There's a lot of them out there, but the hardest thing is trying to raise money for good movies. I do movies in the $3-4 million range. People, watching might go, wow, that's a lot of money. It ain't, as you know, when these $300 million movies are coming out, $3-4 million, that's catering. That's the catering budget on those.
Not
movies.
even the catering budget on them.
Oh my God, I know. It's crazy.
It's crazy. But you're right. I mean, you like you too. You grew up in Minnesota. I grew up in the South Bronx. I mean, I worked.
We had different upbringings.
Yeah, very different. I worked in the factories. I worked in the post office for 5 years. And like you said, we're in an industry. What we do now, I don't feel like I work a day. It could be 18 hours. It could be 20 hours. I feel blessed that I get to do what I do because I love it. And you're right. This industry is like that for people. When we were up in Duluth, for example, in your state, the people in that town just loved that we were there and that we were, we were talking to them and we tell them what the story was. And they were just so happy that we were part of that and sharing it in their community. So, it is a blessing that we get to do what we do. And the people who work in our industry, most of them recognize it. There's some who, complain, but in general, most of them recognize that we're lucky. We're lucky.
Well, I was going to get the complainers. I mean, come on, we live in a society right now. People are just looking to be offended. It's like, what do you want to be offended about today? I don't know. What do you got? So it's so ridiculous.
I'm going to jump to something in a minute, but just give me a minute. I want to a couple of people made some comments and I just want to read them real quick and throw them out there. People just, as they listen to us, friends of yours, friends of mine. One is Dave Alsbach, a military vet. He said that he had the honor of working with you on Annie Nelson's America Heroes plot. And he also has a script called Veterans Day that he wants me to have you direct at some point. So we'll talk about that later. But he's a great Army veteran and a great guy. We did.
Tell him to fund it quick.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Get the money, man. Tom Warner says a shout out to you. Candace is so sick of the woke culture. Rosemary says you two are a joy to listen to. Crystal says go work, go woke, go broke. Your boy James Q Quattrochi says, hey Kevin. Somebody else says thanks for writing your book. And Ken Waters says Hollywood needs more patriots like Mr. Sorbo. And a bunch of other people. Just I'll get to some more later as I close out the show. William Brower, hey Kevin. But anyway, to go back, one of the things that you got that I always liked, and some of your, and I watched them on Twitter. You got like 1 million followers on Twitter.
Closing in on 1.2 million. Closing in on
1.2. Well,
Facebook took me down a year and a half ago. I was posting the truth. Zuckerberg is a bit of a wuss, but he doesn't like the truth. He hates the truth. I would love to meet with him and have a debate with him. I really would. I'd like to sit down with him because I saw him recently in the Joe Rogan podcast, and I thought it was kind of interesting how he hemmed and hawed his way through that because Joe wasn't going to let him off the hook. He's pretty fair in his interviews, and it's pretty interesting what these guys are doing. But they took me down for speaking the truth. One of my Twitters was, hey, I need some more conspiracy theories because mine keeps coming true. And it was true because everything I said was true. I've got a couple friends who are pharmacists. They told me this is right in the heart of right in the middle of 2020 when the COVID thing, when they're saying fear, stay at home, don't do anything. They told me, this went across the country, by the way, that the government came to them and said, take all your ivermectin off the shelves and store it away. This is 6 months before COVID came out. Why were they doing that? This thing was planned beyond plan. There's no conspiracy thing here. Why would they take ivermectin off? And now, just yesterday, I got a business email saying that, and it was like, this goes to everybody if they follow these people, that ivermectin now they realize was 93% curable for people with COVID. 93%, but they took it off the market. Why? Let's talk to Pfizer. Can we get Pfizer on the line here, please?
Well, two things. And one is, I don't know if you've been on Joe Rogan, but you would be great if
we're working on it. We're working on it. I'm not good buddies with the guy, but we haven't seen him in years. But we used to see each other in castings back in the late 80s.
It would just be a fun show, obviously, to have you and him.
I'd love to do it. I'd love to do
it. And then with your tweets, what I like about them, like the one you just said, is just a lot of the times they're just short, snappy, and funny. And you just kind of catch people with, whatever the quotes are. And there's some that I pay attention to that, it's.
I post once a day. Let people know. Go to K Sorbs. K Sorbs, not Sorbo. Sorbs are my buddies. Call me Sorbs. K Sorbs. Follow me on Twitter.
Follow him on
Another
Twitter.
big one I had is when right in the heart of COVID, I said, "You want to get rid of COVID? Tell the Clintons that COVID's got something on them." There you go.
but the same thing with ivermectin. I mean, I got COVID up in your town in Minnesota. For after 2 years, I've been everywhere out there doing everything, and then I knew eventually it would happen.
Yeah.
It wasn't all that bad. I was prepared. I took ivermectin.
It hits everybody differently. I don't poo-poo it. I know it's really bad. It's certainly bad for elderly people. But even Johns Hopkins University about 6 months ago came out with it. Now, this is a liberal university, guys. This isn't me. I'm going off what they posted. They said, saying that over 900,000 people have died from it. They said it's just an exaggeration. It's about 150,000, which is still a lot. That's about 3 times more than the average flu season, okay? But this number thing they're playing, because we were paying with our tax dollars to hospitals to mark things down as COVID. For every COVID case, $19,000 went to it in hospital. Why are we paying $19,000? Paying $39,000 if you said it was a COVID death. Why? What do we? I mean, this makes no sense to me whatsoever. But that's what they were doing that.
Yeah, and like you said, when you got banned on Facebook, and you love to have that conversation with Mark Zuckerberg, a lot of people have gotten banned on all those social medias. Sure. And then when they got back on, what they were saying was true that they got banned for.
Yeah, so, exactly. What I got taken down for is exactly for speaking the truth.
Yeah, Alex Berenson.
I could say it today on Facebook. They would let me say it today.
Yeah, Alex Berenson, who's a writer who got banned from Twitter, got back on and talked about all the stuff about COVID and all the plan behind it. I mean, whatever you believe, the thing is, why are you afraid to have a conversation with people who have different points of view?
Why can't we? Exactly.
Why can't we have a debate between doctors who think one thing and doctors who think another thing? We used to, when we went to a doctor, we'd all go get a second opinion.
I want a second opinion.
Right? Exactly. I like 3 opinions, sometimes 4. I don't even like the second opinion. I want to make sure that there's, it seems to make sense to me. But they've tried to create a world where you just get one opinion, it's their opinion, and every other opinion has to be blocked.
Well, that's an old joke. That's an old joke where the doctor comes in very grave faced and he says, "Look, I got nothing but bad news for you. What you have is very, very bad, and you only got about 3 weeks left to live." He says, "What can I do for you?" He says, "Well, you can find me a second opinion from another doctor. Is what you can do for me."
Well, I've always been a contrarian, and I remember when I blew my Achilles many years ago. I went to the doctor. And he made a mistake. He showed me a video about operating on the Achilles. And then, there was 10 seconds in there about putting a cast. And so when he came in, he said, "Okay, I'm going to set up an operation for you." And I said, no, wait. Let me ask you a question. What about just putting a cast? I saw that in that video. It was like 10 seconds. And he said, "Well, why would you want to do that?" I said, no. The question is, why wouldn't I want to do that? And he said, "Well, it's better to operate." I said, "Well, yeah, I know you make money. I get that." I said, "But why?" I said, "What's the difference?" He said, "Well, you're going to lose mobility." I said, "How much?" He said, 1%. I said, "I'll give you 2%. I don't care." I said, "Why do I need an operate?" So he says, "I guess we're not operating." And we didn't. And we ended up putting a cast. And I play basketball today, and I don't even know which leg it was on. So you got to question anybody. Doctor, he wasn't a bad guy. He was a nice guy. I wasn't making him wrong. I was just saying, it's my body. I get to decide this if I want to do something different. So, that's the world we live in, where we're supposed to not do that anymore. And that's just garbage.
Yeah, it's just weird. Look, when I had my aneurysm, when they rushed me to Cedars-Sinai there in LA, they wanted, what they do, they go on there and try to, fix it. Well, that's very risky. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with that. Well, there was another doctor in there at the time, Dr. Mosher, thumbs up to Dr. Mosher. He came in and said, "Look, we've been experimenting with this new way to fix these aneurysms that will go into brains. We can go anywhere in the body with it." So they went through an angio through my groin, up into my heart, up to where it is. They put a platinum coil in there. They sealed it off that way. So it's far less intrusive. And I'm worth more money now because I got a platinum coil in there about the size of a quarter. But it's amazing how, doctors, the first thing they want to do is just cut. Every other commercial on TV, if not more so, is with drug companies now.
Right.
Just one drug company after another, pushing these, they throw some more letters together, come up with another name. And then they list, very quickly, the voiceover actor lists 47 side effects in about 7 seconds. And you're like going, wow, anal bleeding. I like that one as a side effect. I want to try that drug, So it's just bizarre to me that, what's interesting about Lord Fauci? That's my new swear word. That's my new F word on golf courses now. So that's substituted the other F word. I just yell Fauci every time I have a bad shot.
Which, by the way, Kevin loves his golf, and he is a big golfer, man. So yeah, go ahead, keep going with that.
I am big. I love the game. Love the game. But no, I look what this guy did, and there's videos of him in 2017 saying there's going to be a pandemic before President Trump's term is up. He says it. He admits to it. That's the weird thing about it. And then in another interview, just like within 6 months, somebody said, well, how long do you need really to get before these drugs go out to the public? And he says 7, 8, up to 10 years. We need testing before it goes out. Did we have 7, 8 to 10 years on the pandemic, on the COVID-19 vaccine? No, they rushed it in less than a year. Take the shot, take the shot, take the shot. You know, I mean, it's incredible to me. But once again, fear is the weapon they use, guys. Yeah, fear is what they love.
How many people, like all my friends, because I've been on the left, I've been in the middle, I've been on the right politically, and I have all my friends who for years on the left didn't trust Big Pharma. Nobody trusted Big Pharma. I mean, that was a curse word. Big Pharma was a curse word, right? And then all of a sudden, overnight, worship, not only just trusting them, worshiping them. And you're going, wait, how did that happen? How did they go from, you know, being sued and creating all kinds of problems? And I'm not saying they're all evil, they're all bad, but I'm saying you don't question anymore. You lost that ability.
Yeah. And the left was always aside saying, don't trust the man. Don't trust the man. You know, and that meant the government. And now, all of a sudden, the government is their god. It's just weird. It's
a bizarre world. Well, I'm going to just go back a little bit. How did you go? And we'll go back to film and then come back to this again. Sure. But how did you, coming out of Minneapolis, how did you get into the entertainment? Why were you attracted to acting, and then why did you start directing? So take us.
You know, I was 11-year-old kid. I grew up on Lake Minnetonka, beautiful Lake Minnetonka, in a little town called Mound, Minnesota. It's about 25 miles west of Minneapolis, and we were home to Tonka Toys. Get the tie-in, Lake Minnetonka, Tonka Toys. That's where the plant was. They made Tonka Toys. And the Guthrie Theater is a very famous theater in downtown Minneapolis. It's where a lot of actors, not a lot of actors start, but a lot of Broadway actors go out there, and a lot of plays start there. Like, for instance, Lion King was there before it moved to Broadway. So it was my fifth grade class in Hilltop Elementary. We took like 3 buses in to watch The Merchant of Venice. It was Shakespeare. Now, I was 11. It was bloody Shakespeare. I didn't know what the heck they were saying on stage, but I was completely mesmerized by the actors. I was just boom. And I told my mom, I said, you know, I want to be an actor. And she patted my leg and says, that's nice, dear. But the seed was set. And, you know, and I was a jock. I was a football, basketball, baseball dude. And so for me to sit there and admit that I want to be in acting classes, when I got into high school, I got ribbed, man. I said, hey, the best looking girls are in acting class. I got to tell you right now. But it wasn't until I really got to college. I double major in business, but I took a minor in drama. And I started doing a lot of commercials. As I mentioned, as Minneapolis is host to a lot of big companies, 3M, Honeywell, Best Buy, Target, all these companies are based there. So when I moved to LA, I just moved out there. Didn't know anybody. I knew a friend of a friend where I found, stayed at her and her boyfriend's apartment for like 3 months in Santa Monica until I found my own. But the seed was set. And I'm one of the few actors that I know of that never had to work another job in LA. I did very well commercially. I shot over 150 commercials before I got Hercules. So I did a lot of commercial work. And that, as you know, the favorite word of actors is residuals. So it kept me alive. I was able to take the classes that I wanted to take. Probably my best class I took was with Roy London, who's since passed away. But in my classes, along with me was Brad Pitt, was Matthew Perry, was Charlotte Ross. I mean, a lot of actors before their careers took off. And it was a really wonderful class to be part of. And when I got Hercules, after 7 auditions and 2,800 other actors competing for that role, when I got down to New Zealand, it was by our 3rd year when I looked at the studio. I said, Universal. I said, hey, I would love to start directing. And they didn't even blink. They said, go for it. So I've been DGA now. I've been SAG for 30. Do I have to admit my age? SAG for almost 40 years. Almost 40 years. And I've been DGA for 26 years now. And started on Hercules and love it. I'm just doing more and more of it right now. I got a couple of that down the road. I'm trying to get funded that I want to direct. In fact, you guys are, you and James are part of those other movies we're trying to raise money for right now. And I hope we can make it happen. There's a great sci-fi movie in there. There's an action movie in there. So I'm mixing it up. I'm actually leaving soon. I leave this Friday. I'm shooting a zombie movie up in Montana. Then I go down to Mississippi to shoot a vampire movie. I'm playing a vampire. I always wanted to be in an interview with a vampire. So I'm finally doing a vampire movie. And it's in that vein. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. It's about a director that wants to do a horror movie. And I have these crazy old houses that he gets, and he just starts to realize as the movie goes on, I really am a vampire. So it's kind of cool.
Well, like you said, James Quattrochi, who was my partner producing, we did 2 movies together, and working with Kevin on some future ones. But like you said, Kevin, if anybody has projects out there, like my other buddy Dave, the challenge is get the money. Let's put the money together. We can produce it. We're not connected to bringing that kind of money. As you probably know, growing up in the South Bronx, I didn't hang out with too many rich people. I don't know where they were. I kept looking around, but there wasn't none there. So,
well, all my friends, including my dad was a teacher. All my, we're all teacher friends. And,
so we came from blue collar.
We don't have any money. I'm the 4th of 5 kids on a teacher's salary. Okay,
that's right.
Good luck.
But that's the 2 challenges of making a movie. I always say is obviously raising the financing. So if anybody wants to help us with that for some of the projects we have or have projects, that's the first challenge. We know how to make a movie, and we know how to make great movies,
and we can shoot it anywhere. We know we got crews, and we know where to shoot anywhere in America. We can put a crew together.
And then the next part is making sure we get the distribution, get the audience, and get people to watch it, because those are the challenges. But we're willing to work with people on that. Like you said, you started acting, then you were the DJ for all those amount of years, started doing some of that. How did Let There Be Light come up for you as a director? Why did you choose that? Why did you take that? And obviously you made it super successful. Well, I mean, it definitely caught on. It found an audience.
It did very well for another small budget movie. There's no question.
Right.
My wife, Sam, wrote the script.
Okay.
Dan Gordon has always been a friend of Sam Lang's. Dan Gordon, for those who don't know who he is, Dan Gordon is Academy Award nominated writer. He was up for original screenplay. He wrote The Hurricane for Denzel Washington. He wrote Wide Earp, Kevin Costner. He wrote 60 episodes of Highway to Heaven, Michael Landon series. Great writer. And he looked at the script, and Sam, he said, okay, if I make some changes on this, my name goes above yours on the script rewrite. And she said, well, heck yeah. And I'm sitting in my office, this when I was still living in LA, and I get a phone call, and it was Sean Hannity. And I've been on a lot of Fox. I've been on Hannity. I've been on almost every Fox show, Fox Business and stuff, because they're the only outlet that let you come on and talk about family movies. But anyway, he said, I loved your movie, What If, and God's Not Dead, and Soul Surfer. Do you have something like that? And I said, well, yeah, I got one right now. We went and pitched him in New York. He wrote a check right then and there. And that's how that movie was even brought together. It was one of those amazing things where we just found the money much quicker than we anticipated. And so that's how the whole the Let There Be Light thing even took off. And we put that together. We went to Birmingham. The Irwin brothers came in and helped us a little bit with locations. And people don't know the Irwin brothers. They did like I Can Only Imagine and Mom's Night Out. A lot of
one of my favorite. I Can Only Imagine was a great one for them.
Great movie. Yeah. And they were just class act guys to help us out because once again it was just a lower budget movie, but it played very, very well and did very well in theaters. Did very well with Amazon. They gave us a 2-year wonderful deal with a movie there to stream it. And I highly recommend it. Let There Be Light. Hey, go to sorbostudios.com. There you can find out more information. sorbostudios.com and sign up right there. We got a lot of information on that site.
All right. Definitely do that. Go to sorbostudio.com. At some point, I'm going to have Dan Gordon. I got a chance to spend some time with Dan up on Miracle in East Texas. And besides his incredible writing and that he's done in Hollywood and the success he's had in Hollywood, he also has a fascinating life that being in the Israeli military, and he has stories for days, which I would love to get him on and share.
Hey, let me throw this in right now because he goes back to Israel every year. He's the oldest active member in the Israeli army and is well into his 70s. In fact, Dan loved Birmingham so much, he left Sedona, Arizona, and moved to Birmingham, Alabama. But my wife and I are hosting a trip in May of 2023. So anybody out there wants to go to Israel and to walk in the footsteps of Jesus, we are hosting it. We did it 3 years ago. It was phenomenal. I've been back there twice since to do documentaries. I was just there earlier this year in May. I was there for 3 weeks doing another documentary, which is coming out later in the year. But go to sorboisraeltrip.com, sorboisraeltrip.com. But it's also under sorbostudios.com as well.
So people can find it on both. Yeah, I'd love to go. I ran into a guy. He was on one of my podcast show, American Israeli who ended up getting blown up. He was a tank commander in Israel and got blown up, and he's in a wheelchair. He's a musician. Israel's Got Talent. Just a great human being. So he's back in Israel now, and he's been wanting me to come and hang out with him. So maybe there's a way I can.
There you go. You got to come with us. We got three amazing guides, and same ones we had last time around. I've actually, this last trip I did in May, and this documentary we did on the Ark of the Covenant and also on the Tabernacle, people find pretty fascinating through archaeological digs. So we got 2 new speakers that live there. They're going to come and talk in the evenings while we're having dinner. So I think people will enjoy what these people have to say. And you don't have to be a person of faith. You can just, history is history. Jesus did exist. He was a real person. It's pretty fascinating, just the history and the beauty of Israel. I think people would be pretty impressed by it.
Yeah, well, I've never been there, so it sounds like it would be a definite bucket list thing.
Yeah, May is a great time to go. May is perfect. 80 degrees during the day, 60 at night. It's just a great time to go.
That sounds good. Well, at the end, we'll sum up. You'll put out all those again one more time.
Sure.
Lay out for people. What else? What else do you got coming up? What's some new stuff besides, obviously we're working with things.
Left Behind, just so people know, though, you and I worked on Left Behind, Rise of the Antichrist, is based on the Left Behind books by LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins. And it looks great. I haven't seen all the FX yet put together, but I will see those soon. But I just got from Paul Lalonde, who runs Cloud 10 Pictures up there in Toronto, Canada. He said we're going to release now in January for sure. I've got the Reagan movie coming out with Dennis Quaid. That's going to be around January as well. You mentioned
you filmed with him out in Oklahoma, right?
Say that again.
You filmed?
Oh yeah, we shot in Guthrie, Oklahoma.
Guthrie, yeah. Because I ended up
I shot another movie that just came out last year in theaters called The Girl Who Believes in Miracles with Peter Coyote, who you know as well, and Mira Sorvino. Wonderful family movie, wonderful touching movie. Ran for about 3 or 4 months in theaters, and now it's out in DVD as well. But I also have you mentioned Eating with the Enemy, which will be out probably not till spring now. I'm guessing spring. They're still doing some additional footage on it right now. I will be narrating early December on it. I did another one for them a couple years ago called I love the title with that one, Eating with the Enemy. What a great title for the disciples in the Last Supper. And then the other one I did with them, same company, Brent Miller's company, Ingenuity Films. And that one is called, it was the #1 documentary on Amazon for 5 months, a year and a half ago. And that one is called Before the Wrath. It deals with the second coming. It's just really, it's pretty interesting, pretty factual. And then I've got, like I said, I just mentioned 2 other movies coming up. I just finished a movie called The Waving Man, very, very touching family movie. I shot it with my oldest boy, Braden, who's got the lead in it. He's still got 1 more week on it. I just came back from Orlando filming there. And I've got a race car movie called Speed Shift to shoot in Minnesota. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it's supposed to happen soon. But I've got a lot of things kind of brewing right now, which is really good. There's a couple animation projects I've been contacted about for doing a voiceover on them. So it's all good. Oh, then I'm doing a Christmas special that we hope to go out there forever, years and years to come, that I'm going to be the narrator of that one as well. So I'm doing that one. I'm doing the work on that one, I think, in October. But staying busy, which is a good thing.
That is a good thing. Well, Minnesota will definitely welcome you with open arms. They're looking forward to having you film there. So when you get close to that, let me connect you with the Film Commission people. Sure. The two women up there that are the 2 nicest women in the world. Cool. Minnesota nice, man. You have to be, right? So, but yeah, they would definitely love you. You know what? I'm going to play, if you don't mind, I'm going to play that quick 1.5-minute little clip. And you feel free to comment on anything in it as it's rolling, okay? So people can see. I put this together, stuff that we did together, some stuff that you did, and just, I'll just throw it up there and feel free to jump in anytime you want.
Perfect.
So, here we go. Of course. Let there be light.
I thought you some. Oh, there's our crew shot. We shot in
East Texas Oil, Miracle in
East Texas Oil. That's right.
Left Behind.
I just got the new artwork on Left Behind. So
That's huge.
that's obviously on the set of one of our locations there up in Calgary. That was a great
And this is
church.
kind of funny. God is dead as opposed to God is not dead,
I
right?
know. We had to got to put that up there. There's Corbin Burnson. You saw earlier Neil McDonough, which was great. Neil and I are working on trying to get a who's that great guy right there? Who's that?
Yeah, I don't know.
So there's
Correct.
Neil. Neil and I are discussing. He just sent me a Western script that is unbelievable. It's a modern day Cain and Abel. And I say modern day, it's it's a Western in the 1860s. It's modern to Cain and Abel. But it was I hopefully get that thing done. There's my son.
There's the two
Oh
producers
my
being
gosh.
hands.
Oh, that's Soul Surfer right there, of course. That's Avenging Angel I did. The Reliant with Brian Bosworth. Of course, God's Not Dead, which was there's the book that people all should be reading. There's my beautiful wife, Sam. And there's me doing a baseball swing on a golf course. And yeah, check that out on Prager. It's pretty good. Disappointed, of course. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that. I got to talk about the disappointed thing. On Hercules, I had an alter ego called the Sovereign, which he was the bad guy, and I end up he's like a bilateral universe, and I end up in Hercules' world somehow through some time tunnel vortex thing, and I get there, and my line reads is, "Wait a minute, this isn't my world," and people thought when I yelled out disappointed after that it was screen direction. Oh, he read that wrong. And screen direction. He was supposed to say it in a disappointed way. No. I thought of Kevin Kline and A Fish Called Wanda. And if you haven't seen that movie, please see that movie. It's probably in my top 10. It's a wonderful movie that John Cleese wrote and directed from, you guys know John Cleese, Monty Python and all. And Kevin Kline, and 3 times that movie, he goes, disappointed, just yells it out. And I thought of that, and I just yelled it out and said it. Well, they kept it in because we did a lot of ad libs on Hercules. Nothing to take away from the writers, but there were things that on the set would happen that would go, hey, it'd be great if we said this here. And it's got like 25 million hits right now. And there's people that come up to me at Comic-Cons, and they have it on their phone as a ring, as a tone dial, like when their wife calls them. So it says disappointed. So it's amazing how that thing has taken on a life of its own, but it's pretty cool. I wish I had a dime or $1 for every time that people download it, because then I'd be able to fund my movies just like that.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
I need to figure that out.
Well, we everybody in the crew would say that occasionally on the setup there, just to have fun, obviously. Yeah. So that was a lot of fun. What else, Kevin? I mean, it sounds like you got a great busy thing. I would just say for anybody, friends watching this or people watching it in the future, reach out to me if you got financing, you want to put some financing together for some movies that we might want to be able to consider to have Kevin direct and act in, and we can produce. By all means, reach out to us, and let's start talking. I mean, we can definitely do the creative side, the producing side. We need help with the financing side. So if you can put that together, guys, anybody out there, feel free to do that.
I do want to throw in real quick. My wife and I did a follow-up book to True Strength, and it's called True Faith. And that one just came out in the last year.
I mentioned it. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, please check out True Faith too. It's about just embracing adversity in life. So it's got a lot of good anecdotes in there and stories, and I think it'll help motivate people to keep moving forward in life through all the negativity out there. And I'm also starting another book right now called Close Encounters of the Celebrity Kind. I may change the title, but it's just short 2-page chapters on all the people I've met as a pseudo celebrity in the world, of all these, from Wayne Gretzky to Charlton Heston to all these different people. And a lot of them are just funny. Joe Pesci. There's just a lot of just little fun little stories about people I've met through my walk in life in this crazy world.
Well, you obviously, once again, and then I'm going to just go back. But we both, you did it, I think, on Prager. I did it on Epic Times. You've been on Epic Times as well, too. Yeah. I think I did a show talking about cancel culture that's up on Epic Times, and you've done one as well. And we kind of both see that world where, basically weak people are trying to cancel people who have different opinions of them, and that's what
it's just silly. It's just silly.
Weak people.
We are literally gotten rid of freedom of speech. I don't think we've ever had true freedom of speech anyway, but the last 3-4 years, I just see the acceleration of this ridiculousness. And it's just I'm just
It's
sick of it.
sad.
It's sad. It's sad and it's stupid and it's immature and it's childish.
Yeah.
It's like there's like all these people are a bunch of like little seventh graders. Like, you know, it's just this weird little thing about getting angry about the stupidest thing. We live in a world like, what are you angry about? Well, what do you got? You know,
Yeah, right.
it's that old Marlon Brando movie about, you know, it just was, what are you so angry at? He says, well, what do you got, man? He was a biker and this, I can't remember the title of the movie.
I mean,
But it's
I
just,
just, you know, I just
it's
think
stupid.
it's so much easier to treat people with respect and have a conversation. And,
Yeah.
you know, on anything. I mean, don't be afraid, have courage. Somebody disagrees with you, so what?
Yep.
Big deal. You know, it's like you can learn things from anybody. So why not have a conversation? Why
And
not
if
be
you don't
afraid?
like somebody's Twitter account, then don't follow him.
Yeah, don't read it.
It's
Yeah.
just,
You don't
it's
like
so
somebody.
simple.
Yeah. But when you have conversations with people and people who are willing to have conversations, you find out you have a lot more in common, and you find ways to like people when you're that kind of courageous person. You know, you don't find a way to dislike people. You find a way, like, what can we do together? How can we be friends? As opposed to, let me find ways to not like you.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it takes for maturity, it takes for adulthood to be able to do that. But I think that message is some of what we want in the world, both with our movies and with our messages. So if people want to reach out to you, once again, I'm going to hit it up again for speaking. If they want to hire you for speaking, if they want to, you know, reach out to you to go on Twitter, if they want to get your books on Amazon, if they want to go on the trip to the Holy Land, to Jerusalem, Israel, tell them all those kind of places where people.
It's easy. Just go to sorbostudios.com. Sorbostudios.com. It's got all the information right there. And yeah, it's just simple. Just pop right there. It's one-stop shopping. And if you want my books, you want the DVDs, we got them all there on site. You can get them autographed and we'll send them out.
Sounds good. Anything else you would like to and when we finish up, I'm just going to kind of stay on for a minute and just kind of answer some of the people who posted on here, just to give them a little a moment of acknowledgement, what they're saying. But anything else you want to leave the audience with, man?
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm done talking to you, man. It's over. We've covered everything.
Yes, we have, man. Well, I look forward to doing another movie with you. That was one of the other things I do have to say for the audience. You know, I've done probably close to 50 movies as a line producer and a producer. And of the two movies that we did together, Miracle in East Texas and Left Behind, I say the experience I had in those movies, and this is a credit to you and also the team we put together, but those were the best experiences I had over that whole experience of all those movies, you know. And on the first one, I said, unfortunately, I told it to James Quattrochi, who's my producing partner. I said I felt like I was on vacation, and he said, "Does that mean I don't have to pay you?" So yeah, so but we had a blast both on the set, and you could see from some of the things, we had a great time at night. We went out, we ice skated, we socialized, we had a.
Well,
It was just
like
family.
Great crew, and the actors we brought in were all awesome and easy to work with and professional, and nobody is a prima donna. And look, I look at it. I look at it. I'm from the Midwest, so I think that it's a different sort of outlook. When I moved to Hollywood, I never really became a Hollywood guy, and I tell people I'm a 13-year overnight success. So I know what it's like, that it wasn't handed to me or gifted to me. I worked my butt off to get where I was, but I used every failure in my life as a positive, and that's what people got to do. Failure is not a negative word, guys. No is not a negative word. You're going to learn a lot from those things and take pieces that worked and get rid of the stuff that didn't work and just move on in your life, and just quit giving up so easy. Everybody gives up so easy, and it's like, I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. So let's just get out there and work hard and not be afraid of having things go wrong, because that's what makes you a better person, a stronger person.
100% agree, man. Well, thank you, Kevin.
All right.
It's been a pleasure, man. Thank you for being part of this, and thank you for sharing with everybody. You have a great one. We'll talk soon.
Take care.
All right. Bye. Take care. All right, everybody. I'm just going to kind of give you a lot of people have jumped in here, and just want to thank you for audience. Francisco, thank you, Francisco. Blessings to you both. You say, Francisco, and back at you. Ken Dodge, you're a spectacular man. I pray we actually get to work together one day. Working with Kevin was an uplifting experience I'll always remember. Right on, Ken. Who else? Let me just get through some of you. William Brower says, amen, Kevin. Tony Bodie says, great interview, John and Kevin. Thank you, Tony. Ken says, Joe Rogan doesn't pull any punches. Love his podcast. Ryan says, my humble opinion, I believe we indie creators can create a counter Hollywood. We have better writers and creators, so we can attract all the top talent on both sides of the camera. Well, I hope so. I wish so. Pop culture can be saved from the idiotic woke folks. As of Ryan, I hope so. Lori, thank you, Lori, for being on it. James, yeah, what's on, brother? We're gonna work together. Dave Allspark, when we shoot Veterans Day in Louisiana, tell Kevin to bring his gloves. Yeah, let's get that money going. Let's get Veterans Day going. Dave, anybody out there want to help finance a great script and a great project, Veterans Day, reach out to me. Russell says, hey, fellas, happy Sunday. What else? What else? Camille says, I'm from Louisiana. I'd love to go home and work on something. Fight going available. Right on, Camille. So happy for Kevin. Crystal, that's how I live with two liberals while in LA. Laugh out loud. Crystal Snow, who's done a great project up in Canada, a great actress, producer, etc. So anyway, everybody, I'm going to kind of wrap up the show. Thank you for watching. Thank you if you come on later and you get a chance to watch this. Feel free to reach out to me via Facebook, direct message me with projects, with things that you're interested in. You can watch the show or you can share the show. It will be on John Duffy YouTube's channel. So you can share the show, tell the people. Of course, it will be staying here on Facebook. And once again, thank you, everybody. Have a fantastic day. Live courageously. Don't give up. Never quit. And until I see you next week, take care. God bless.